All right, everyone, welcome back to week 2 of the Family Beatdown Fantasy League preview show. What a great week of football it was, man. We had some great games. Green Bay got off to a fantastic start, in my opinion, on Thursday night over New Orleans. New Orleans looked good. They had the chance to go for the tie there in the final seconds, but the Green Bay defense just stiffened up. So what a way to kick it off. And then another great game, I thought, was the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. Baltimore hung a whooping on Pittsburgh like they hadn't seen in a while, and that's always a tough division game. So some really great football over the weekend. We saw some great performances, too. We saw some record-breaking performances. Sebastian Janikowski tied the longest field goal record on Monday night there in Denver. The second time it's been tied in Denver. Jason Elam had a 63-yarder a few years back. We saw Tom Brady uncork for 517 yards, though not a record. Anytime he bats for 500 yards, that makes you sit up and take note. And probably the biggest surprise and the biggest record of them all happened to young Cam Newton there, the Carolina Panthers, who goes off for 422 yards in his opener. And that is, from everything I've seen, that is the best rookie performance, debut performance by a rookie ever. So Cam's off to a great start. Our league just the same, man. We had some great games in our league. I went 3-3 on my picks, so I'm off to my my typical 500 start. Blumpkins got the better of me. Alex put up a decent game. Stafford, who I've been dissing in other leagues, Stafford put up 51 points for Alex, and then Hakeem Nicks also had a great game, and then that Baltimore defense put up 28 for him. Me, I got a great game out of Phil Rivers, but then Lee Evans got thrown at I think 7 times or 4 times and didn't catch a ball. Posted a goose egg for me, and that really does not sit well with me. Although Kenny Britt did very good for me at 30.6 in the losing cost down there in Tennessee. And then Mark Ingram got off to a slow start. I expected big things out of him and was happy, Veronica. I was very happy to see that you had dropped Mark Ingram, the heralded rookie there. I always like to take a stab at a rookie in hopes that they break out, and I take advantage of that. Nick Falk put up 11 for me in showing redemption as he beat his former Dallas Cowboys team, who looked horrible, which is awesome. And then Minnesota defense 17. So Alex takes the win. Good on you, Alex. The Rednecks put up 180 points. Dawn got off to a fantastic start behind Aaron Rodgers, 54 points. She also got 13 out of Dez Bryant, which is hard to believe considering how horrible Dallas played. Steven Jackson, 11. Javid Bess, another 11. 34.8 points from Steven Smith. And somebody had to catch those Cam Newton passes. So Dawn just got out of the gates unbelievably well. 180.3. I think that was a high point production for the week. Now Tyson, on the other hand, had a great week too. I mean, it stinks when you put up nearly 150 points. Tyson had 149.8 and you lose. That's gotta sting, because that's a fantastic performance, Tyson. Look at Tom Brady's number. 79 fantasy points for Tom Brady. And Tyson, that's a key pickup for you. He's going to have a fantastic year, it looks like. Jason Witten got 16 out of the tight end position for Dallas, and that was the high points for Tyson, although Deshaun Jackson looked pretty good as well with 21. But really, Dawn with 180 points, off to a fantastic start. I think and actually, Dawn proved me wrong on that. I actually picked her to lose, so good on you, girl. In case of the Invincibles versus the Deceptions won this one. They won this one behind the power of his receiving core. You look at, he got 38 out of Vic. Not a great performance out of Vic, but certainly serviceable. Greg Jennings got 14, almost 15. Mike Williams, 11. Matt Forte went off for 21.8 for you in the running back slot. And then your tight end, Jed, got 14.6. And looks like Jed is employing that New England kind of strategy with dual tight ends. I see Rob Gronkowski with 14.6, but also Mercedes Lewis, who former UCLA grad, 2.8. So Jed with the two two tight end formation. Invincibles, Dad got off to a decent start. Schaub didn't have a great day. I mean, he didn't have to pass. They were able to run like crazy. So Schaub, 24 points, and that's not what you expect out of Matt Schaub. Dwayne Bowe, he had a very slow start, but Dwayne Bowe had a slow start last year as well. I got him in another league, so I have a vested interest in how well young Mr. Bowe goes off. 31.9 points out of Ray Rice for Dad, so that is the certain high point. But I think the Invincibles are going to be a team to be reckoned with. I think Dad's got a pretty decent team this year. Jake gets off to a fast start, 153.10 over 103. Fudge your face, Bolden. Jake is led by Eli Manning and then Darren McFadden with 20.6. I mean, Jake had some stellar performance. Brandon Marshall, 18.9. Michael Turner, 17. Mike Wallace, 15.7. Good job, Jake, out there. Fudge your face. Matt Ryan had his hands full against Chicago. He did not have a good day against Chicago. No Sean Marino did not have a good day against Oakland. LeGarrette Blount did not have a good day against Detroit. So Michael needs to pay attention, but he has the formations of a good team. Just did not put it together. Mud Dogs, the second highest performance, or third highest performance of the week. Mud Dogs off to a great start behind Drew Brees, 65.2. Wes Welker, 33 points. And LaShawn McCoy, 30.7. Rick puts up a very respectable 156.2. Quincy, on the other hand, 113.5. Quincy got nailed by Arian Foster. He did make the adjustment. He didn't have Arian Foster in there. Arian Foster did not put on his suit. But Joseph Adai instead, 5.2. Quincy did ride the Reggie Bush gravy train, 15.5, 13.4 out of Cousin Anquan, but only 24.9 out of Big Ben Roethlisberger, as Baltimore gave Pittsburgh everything they could deal with. Taking a look at our final game of the week, Mama for Bolden's off to a fantastic start, 149.8, and then Paul too, 141.7. That'll win most fantasy games. That'll win most games, and Paul still loses. That's got to suck. But Paul, he got Manning on there. He covered for Manning, and Paul, you need to cut Manning. You need to get him out. I don't think he plays this year. I don't think they're going to come back. He's going to be 8 or 9 games into it. I think Baltimore or Indianapolis will be out of it. I don't think Manning plays at all this year. So, Paul, I know you got Cutler, but you got to do something because you cannot win with Steve Cutler. Hear me now. Believe me later. Cedric Benson, 23.3. I guess he got out of jail long enough to put on a suit. And Janikowski with that super long field goal. Paul picks up 13 points from him. But Veronica gets off to a fantastic start. Tony Romo, 48 points. Better fantasy game than real game because Romo did not perform well. But Calvin Johnson, 20.8, Jamal Charles, 10.5, and Robert Meacham, 13. All adds up to 159.8 for Veronica. So a fantastic day, a fantastic first weekend in the Fantasy Beatdown League. Also, now let's take a look at week number 2. So the big matchup here is this is your game of the week. We'll get right at it. It's Smell This versus Blue and Gold. This is the big game. Usually it's rivalry weekend, but here it is right now. And if you look at the projected points, we're 1 point apart. So Jake and I are both looking decent for this week. Now, Phillip Rivers plays New England. That's a tough place to play. And then Rashard Mendenhall has got Seattle. Rashard really needs to redeem himself because he sucked ass in game 1. But Seattle is porous this week. Kenny Britt got a great start off. He plays against Baltimore. That's not a good matchup. And Mark Ingram against Chicago, although Urlacher may be out this week. So that could be good for my boy Mark. Blue and Gold, on the other hand, he gets Eli Manning against St. Louis. Oh, Eli's going to tear him up. Darren McFadden against Buffalo. I know Buffalo's not as bad as they look on paper. All of that said, Blue and Gold looks to be pretty tough, but I just can't go against my boys, so I'm going to give the win to Team Smell This over Blue and Gold. Looking at Mighty Blumpkins versus Mama of Four Boldens. Blumpkin has some holes to fill. He's got a running back spot open and a wide receiver spot open. How is that possible? We're not even on buys this week, and Alex has got open spots. Matthew Stafford against KC could be good for him. Hakeem Nicks against St. Louis could be good for him. Adrian Peterson against Tampa Bay. I'm not looking optimistic there. Mama of four Boldens, Tony Romo really needs to get off on it. He got San Francisco in their top defense. Calvin Johnson against KC should go yard. And then we got a lot of red for Veronica, so you may want to check those updates. But if you look at the projected stats, Veronica is going to get the lead, and I'm actually going to give my vote to Mama of four Boldens based on her strong performance in week 1 and the fact that Blumpkins beat me. So take that, Alex. All right, Jordan Invincibles versus Team Quincy. Again, on paper, looks to be almost a dead heat. Matt Schaub against Miami. Roethlisberger against Seattle. I like the Seattle matchup better. Looking else at also studs. Ray Rice against Tennessee. A dive versus Cleveland. Might be good. Reggie Bush goes against Houston. They got a tough defense. I'm actually going to give the nod this week to the Invincibles. Next, Fudge Your Face Bolden versus the Nads. Jay Cutler gets the New Orleans Saints. Oh, God. That's going to be tough. He's projected 31 points. I don't even think he gets that many. But Paul's got a favorable matchup in Ahmad Bradshaw and Cedric Benson. Bradshaw against St. Louis and Benson against Denver. And Fight Your Face, Matt Ryan against Philly. Maybe. LeGarrette Blount against Minnesota. No way. I'm going to give the nod to the Nads. Back to my joke from last year. Nads get the nod. All right, looking at deceptions. Jed off to a blistering 1-0 start. And Tyson with that 150-point performance, but loses. Tyson is favored slightly on paper. Brady plays San Diego. I think will tear them up for 1,000,000 points. Chris Johnson against Baltimore. He'll get negated. LaDainian Tomlinson against Jacksonville. He'll get 1,000,000 points. Mike Vick faces his old team, Atlanta. Going to go down there and visit with the Falcons. It's going to be interesting to see that game. It should be a very interesting game. See what kind of welcome Mr. Vick gets back in his old stomping ground. Greg Jennings against Carolina. Mike Williams against Minnesota. Matt Forte against the aforementioned Saints. And that's the highlights of it. I'm going to give the nod to the Beast in the East because I want Tyson to make amends for that 150-point loss. It's got to sting. It's got to sting. And if it doesn't sting, it's going to sting now because I'm telling you over and over, that's got to sting. And in our final game of the week, Mud Dogs versus Rednecks. This is husband and wife. This is Rick at Mud Dogs and Rednecks and Dawn, both of them at 1-0. This will settle the peace up there in Verdon. So, Breeze for Mud Dogs faces Chicago. Ocho Stinko plays San Diego, but Wes Welker also San Diego. Rick's getting all of the yards up in New England. Not a bad strategy, Rick. Now that I think about it, now that Brady goes off for 500 yards a game. Dawn has Aaron Rodgers against Carolina. I'm expecting easy win, not easy win, but a win for the Packers over Carolina. Steve Smith going against that Packer defense, kind of point counterpoint. Des Bryant goes against San Francisco. Not a good matchup. Larry Fitzgerald against Washington. Washington is the much improved Washington team this year. I'm going to give the nod to the Mud Dogs. And last, before we sign off, we didn't get into our big Notre Dame USC updates in our week 1 preview, so I want to make sure we cover that. We'll get all caught up and we'll make it a regular part of the old telecast here. So USC is off to a blistering 2-0 start. They're kind of limping along to a 2-0 start. They beat Minnesota in the opener 1917, and then they got past the University of Utah last weekend 23-17. Notre Dame, on the other hand, has been battling superior foes and nature, and they are limping off to an 0-2 start, having dropped to Southern Florida, but also having been the participants in one of the best college football games I think all of us can remember in a long time, last Saturday night, the feature game of the night in the Big House there in Michigan. Just a really great game. Came up on the short end of the stick for the Irish, but a good game and a very memorable one. So anyway, I'm not sure who Notre Dame has this week. Probably Little Sisters of the Poor. I'll try to find that as we go. But I can tell you that that the USC Trojans play the Syracuse Orangemen this week. In fact, we've got 3 tickets here. Look at there. And the one thing I want to point out, you see right there, where it says Trojans and it says USC, right there. See that? And you see that's in gold. You see that's gold. You know what that is? That's real gold. And what they do is after the Notre Dame game, because the USC Trojans batted their head so much, all that gold paint, that real gold paint that these guys like to put on their hats, that all comes flying off. And the Trojans go out there and they sweep all that up, and they actually print it with their tickets, and they knock off so much gold paint that they're able to put on a genuine